Notoriety Sports Network. Breaking news, live shows, unprecedented content. Notoriety Sports Network, built different. The NSN NBA Show is in the building. Yes, happy Thursday afternoon / evening, wherever you guys are in the United States or around the world. My name is Ed Cole. I got my brothers with me. We're going to talk some NBA basketball. Samuel Rodriguez and my man Trael Nabors. Brothers, what is going on? Peace to y'all.
Man, another day.
I'm living. I'm excited.
Yes.
Glad to be here.
Yes. Living is all we can do right about now. Just keep our heads above water, right?
Yep.
Oh, man. And what can keep our heads above water is the fact that we have 4 teams that have already clinched playoff berths. So we've got a quarter of the 16 teams in this tournament already here clinched. The Nets clinched the playoff spot. The Sixers, the Utah Jazz, and the Phoenix Suns clinched the playoff spot here last night, beating the Los Angeles Clippers by 8, 109-101. So I want to start off with the Suns, obviously, because it's the first time in 11 years they've made the playoffs. Sam and Trail, 8-point victory over the Clippers, holding the Clippers to 101 points, one of the best scoring teams in the league, even though they were without Kawhi. Still, they got their first win over the Clippers, and they are in the playoffs. What do you guys think of this Phoenix Suns team? They're looking strong. They are right now. And tomorrow night here in Phoenix, the Utah Jazz come to town. So that'll be for first place in the Western Conference. The Suns are a game behind the Utah Jazz. So if they beat the Jazz tomorrow night, they will be tied for first place in the Western Conference. People are going nuts out here in Arizona because of the Phoenix Suns are in the playoffs. What are you guys seeing from the Suns, brothers?
All right, so I think they can beat the Jazz. I think they have the pieces to do it. And this has been a hot take I've been seeing recently, and I kind of agree with it. I think Chris Paul should win his first MVP this season. The way he's put that Suns team over the top. They came in, they were on that playoff drought. The first season he comes in, they're battling for the first seed. That's not a coincidence. That man still has it. And he's helping show the real Devin Booker. And now we're going to see playoff Devin Booker. We haven't seen that yet. Playoff DeAndre Ayton. And
Sam and Trail, so CP, all he did last night, 28 points, 10 assists, 4 of 8 from three-point range in 32 minutes. He shot 10 of 15. And Sam, you mentioned D-Book. He had 21, 6 rebounds, 3 assists in 37 minutes of play. Trail, pick it up, baby.
Man, really start. Chris Paul. Chris Paul is one of the top pure point guards that ever come through the NBA, and he shows it year in, year out. As he goes to every team he goes to, they have a better record than the previous year before. I mean, it's crazy. Not really crazy, but it's amazing to see a guy come in definitely with this Suns team. Like we said, we haven't seen Devin Booker yet in the playoffs. Now he has his opportunity, his chance to show us what he can do in the playoff. Is he really built for it? But having Chris Paul there to help him out by his side, I think it's going to be really good for the Suns and for Devin Booker. And, with DeAndre Ayton, now his first go-around with it as well. So the game that's coming up with them and the Utah Jazz is going to be a good one, just because they both know what's at stake. They both know what's at stake. So that means they're coming at like an NBA Finals game. You know, they ready, they focus. Everybody game plan is going to be locked down to the T. And most of all, they both are in the West. So could be a preview of a meetup later on in the playoffs.
It could be a preview of the Western Conference Finals. You never know.
Right.
And if I can slide in that real quick, if Julius Randle wasn't playing the way he is, Mikal Bridges would win Most Improved Player.
Right.
Yes.
Mikal Bridges, he's been playing phenomenally. Out of Villanova, he's been looking exceptionally well this season.
Oh, yeah.
Better than most people projected.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. What he does defensively and when he contributes offensively, that's also a strength from what Mikal Bridges can do, but wow, what he's able to do from a defensive standpoint, he just embodies what James Jones, the general manager, has done over his entire career, winning 3 championships, and what he and Monty Williams, the head coach, want the Phoenix Suns to be. They want to be physical, and they want to hit you at the point of attack. They want to attack you for 48 straight minutes of basketball, and clearly that's what they've done this year at a 44-18 record.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And I gotta say, man, I gotta give every time I think about the Jazz, I gotta give them their props and their up, because man, they really maintaining being I gotta give it to them. They're a contender team right now. Just because they're keeping up and being so consistent night in and night out. You know, even when Donovan Mitchell was out, you had guys stepping up. I mean, next man up was real with that team, and they kept it going. You know, so I have to give them their props, you know, right along with Phoenix. Nobody's really talking about Phoenix all the way up until this point, really, you know, now because it's getting really close to the playoffs. So it's like you have to dial in and focus in on that team. But those two teams, man, they could be some real crazy matchups, you know, for some of those teams down at the bottom.
Yes, they could. Mm-hmm.
If that Jazz team hold on to home field advantage, home court advantage, they're 26-4 at home, the best home record in the NBA. So if they're playing at home, their chances of winning are going up about 50%.
Right.
Oh, and by the way, I'm looking at this box score from last night. They scored 154 points against Sacramento. 154. Tell me these boys aren't ready for the Suns tomorrow night.
Hey.
Yeah, they're ready.
Yeah, it's going to be some good matchups all across that floor, from the 1 all the way to the 8th man off the bench. Because if you look at their team, they both are kind of built similar. And so it won't be really many mismatches up and down, because you everybody. I mean, if you ever been following NBA, greatest matchup of just pure point guard. It's Mike Conley versus Chris Paul.
Yes.
Anybody ever been watching NBA for the last 10 years, you know that those two have been very, very top tier of the league, true point guards. So that's going to be a good matchup in itself right there. And just to watch the bigs go at it, Andre Ayton and Rudy Gobert, I like that. I really like to see this. And
I want to see who's going to defend from the Suns side. Who's going to defend Jordan Clarkson? He had 23 last night. All he does is come off the bench and just score. All he does is buckets.
And that win last night shows how deep that team is, because they won without Mike Conley and Donovan Mitchell. Yeah, and they dropped 154 to 105. Everyone came off the bench. Bogdanovich came out scoring. You got Matt Thomas came out scoring. Like you said, Jordan Clarkson. Yeah. He's looking like a 6th man of the year candidate right now. He's playing phenomenally.
He'll get my vote for it. And they had 6 as a bench. They had 66 points. 66 of the 154.
They're a deep team.
Wow.
People aren't looking at how deep they are.
I can't ever forget about my biggest sleeper. Like one of my low key favorite players in the league, Joe Ingles. That guy, oh my goodness! I mean,
yes, sir.
Mr. Smooth himself, lefty. I love to watch him play, man. He's just so smooth, man. I love, that he's really underrated in the NBA. Yeah. He's so underrated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he embodies the entire Utah Jazz. Like you said, underrated, but they like it that way. Okay, go ahead and sleep on us.
Right.
Go ahead
and their team. Yep.
Keep us under the radar. That's cool. We'll show you once we hit that second season. Wait till May 18th hits when this tournament hits. Okay, we're gonna show you something.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it, man. Just definitely those playing games just to see how the matchups are going to play out. You know, because we really can't choose. We really can't choose any teams or brackets right now with this new formula. Playing games, like we really have to wait until the playoffs, literally like pretty much a couple days before the playoffs actually start.
Yeah, because the play-in starts on the 18th. So right now for the Western Conference, the 9 seed or the San Antonio Spurs, they would take on Golden State, and number 7 Portland would take on Memphis, and whoever wins that game would take on the Suns. As far as the East goes, Indiana's the number 9 seed. Washington is the number 10 seed, but as well as they're playing, they could flip-flop Indiana. They could
Yeah.
keep moving up.
Easily.
Yeah, and then number 7 is Miami, and then the 8 seed will be Charlotte. So that 7-8 seed, that will be a really great matchup too. That man, both of those teams present matchup nightmares, problems.
Well, those playing games are going to be some tough games in themselves. So we get to catch a little bit of playoff type basketball early.
Yes.
And if the Heat make it in that play-in, make it out of the play-in right into the playoffs, they could be another underdog series like last season. They still have Victor Oladipo over there. They still have all the guys. They could still come in as that underdog grit and grind team. No one's really talking about them.
Yeah,
Sam, if it plays out and they play Charlotte and beat them, they will take on the Sixers. Do you think they could, Sam, Trail? Do you think they could give the Sixers a tough go in the first round? I
think they'd put up a battle. I don't know.
I don't think they wouldn't beat them in the series, but I agree they would battle them.
They'd test the 76ers. They test them probably more than most teams in that conference would, besides the Nets. But that'd be a great battle to see. It'd probably be Sixers and 6. I'd say that. There'd just be a battle and a half because Bam, Joel will have that, but still Bam's playing great. You have Oladipo still. You got Butler, Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, Goran Dragic. You still got a team over there.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and I'm gonna say, it depends.
Are you gonna say what I think you're gonna say, bro?
It depends on the series play of Joel Embiid. Period. Because I just can't forget about the offensive firepower that the Heat have.
Yeah.
With those shooters, honestly, if you want to just be honest, they have better shooters than the 76ers. If you just want to be completely honest, they have better shooters than the 76ers.
They do.
Honestly, I think they have more leadership than the 76ers. So
I can see that.
You have to just sit back and think. It's just the biggest holdback for me saying that the Heat could beat them in a series is because I don't know in a 7-game series. I'm not sure if Bam is big enough and strong enough to slow down Embiid. That's my only issue with that team. My only issue.
Yeah.
So
especially
I don't know if anybody outside of Nikola or who else could bang with Joel for 7 games.
Yes. See, it just
maybe Rudy
Gobert. Yes.
That's about it, really.
And those teams are the best.
Yeah.
Yes. So they wouldn't meet him until the finals, right?
So
yeah.
Like, if Joel be the MVP, Joel, I mean, he have to be at the full series because those guys on that Heat team play some defense, and I mean, it is grimy. Is like, so they may find a way to get it out of his hand, knowing that he like playing on the perimeter 15 feet and out. You know, they could find a way to get it out of his hands and make it tough on him like they do Giannis.
They could.
You know, so I'm not gonna completely say that they would that the Heat would beat them, but I'm not gonna completely say that the 76ers would just beat them as well.
One thing to piggyback off what you're saying, the 76ers are gonna need Joel to play MVP Joel against most of those teams in the East to win.
Period.
Because they're a defensive first team, but there's a lot of high scoring teams in the East. You got Celtics, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum looking well together. Like you said, the Heat. The Nets, I mean, you need to score against them. Defense isn't just going to stop them.
Nope.
Like, so if Joel plays MVP Joel, he'll be a problem for most.
And all the Knicks do is play defense.
Exactly.
I mean, they're a team offensively, and the Knicks is a team offensively and defensively. That's how they win games because they're on a string on defense, and they don't care who scores on offense. Just however they get it, they score. You know, so
So if Joel's not playing MVP Joel, some teams might have a chance to beat the 76ers. We know Ben Simmons isn't going to take over. He's really a defensive first guy. He's not really that guy to take over the game and win it for you.
Right.
So
it's Joel.
So other than Tobias Harris, who else would take over? You know, you could get some really good nights from Danny Green, some really good shooting games from Seth Curry, Shake Milton off the bench, Furkan Korkmaz can come off the bench. So they're pretty deep. See what George Hill can do from a defensive standpoint. You know, that was a good addition for Philly.
It's just Danny Green's too inconsistent for me to cheer him on like that. He'll drop 21 games, but the next 7 games drop 2 points. He's very inconsistent like that. But when he has his games, he's on. He's on. He can hit 7 threes, 7 for 8, 7 for 7 corner. But when he's not hitting, it's just sit him out for the game.
Right. And I'm looking at 76ers. 76ers X factor is Korkmaz.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Korkmaz, yes.
I've watched them in action, quite a bit of times this year, and he has impressed me every time I watch him. Like, he's maybe like 6'10"? He has to be somewhere around 6'8" to 6'10".
6'7", 202.
6'7", okay. Well, he's really long, 6'7". He's a really long 6'7", playing the point guard and can really shoot the basketball. I watched him in pick and roll situation. It's hard to really defend him because he can shoot the ball so well. And being 6'7", he can get to the rack and finish over the top of smaller guard. So he's really their X factor, and he's gonna have to play well. He's gonna have to play really well. Also, if they want to make a real deep run and a real championship run. And
I agree. At least over the last 5 games, Korkmaz has scored double digits in every game. 18, 10, 12, 10, 12. So he does contribute when he comes off the bench or when they need to have him in that starting lineup. So he produces.
Yeah, because he's mostly, even though I know those numbers you just said wasn't really just eye-popping, it's if you watch it within the game, he caused problems for the defense just because of his physical attributes and his skill. So just because he don't score a lot, he's setting up somebody else to score because they have to help off on him. You know what I mean? So
yes.
Just don't let those numbers fool you.
And he's putting up other numbers too, Trael and Sam. So he's getting assists. Against the Clippers recently, he had 4 assists and he had 3 steals in that game. 2 steals just recently against the Atlanta Hawks last night when they beat him by 44. So it is contributions, as you mentioned, other than points.
Right.
And that's exactly what you're going to need in the playoffs. You don't need everybody to be scoring. You're going to need some guys to rebound and do assists and do all the dirty work. The underside of things to make this team successful and move on in the playoffs. Everybody doesn't have to score 25 or 30 a night. It would be great if the Sixers had that, but it doesn't work out like that all the time.
Only for the Nets. That's about it. That's the only team that consistently have 4 guys scoring 25, 30 points a game. I mean, look at Jeff Green last game.
Yeah.
Even Jeff Green had 22. Like
Jeff's been balling in Brooklyn.
Right.
I've been saying teams should have picked him up immediately. He's still a solid player, but everyone slept on him. Everyone slept on him, and look where he is now.
Why are people sleeping on the Hoya? Right? Come on.
No, Jeff Green is a huge piece to their puzzle because he's so efficient. He's been really efficient, like just with his 3-point shot, cutting to the rack. Just really playing the game the correct way and understanding how to play off of the stars. That's really what helps him out tremendously, just knowing how to play off of stars. And he's looked great. He looked great. And like I said, he's been doing this. It's nothing new. It's just now the stage is kind of a little bigger and, people get to see it more often.
Yes. Yep. And that's exactly what they're going to need. Everybody to make contributions once they hit that second season. But let's talk about the Knicks. We got about 15 more minutes left. So the Knicks, they're number 4 right now in the seedings for the playoffs. They've got a killer West Coast trip coming up. Let me look at their schedule. So Sunday they're in Houston. Monday they're in Memphis. Next Wednesday, they're in Denver. Next Friday, they're here to take on the Suns. Next Sunday, they play the Clippers at Staples Center. And then the Tuesday after that, they play the Los Angeles Lakers. So this is a killer 6-game road trip for these fellas as they're fighting for a playoff spot right now, fellas. What do you see? That is a murderer's row of a road trip for the New York Knicks. If they want to make the playoffs, they've got to win at least 4 of 6 of those. And that's going to be hard.
And it is going to be hard, but I think they can pull it off.
Yeah.
And even if they have to go in the play-in spot, even if they have to go in the play-in spot, they're going to win that play-in spot. The way they've been playing, a lot of teams, they're in the 4th seed right now. Julius Randle's looking amazing. RJ Barrett's looking like he was supposed to be when he first got drafted there.
Yes.
I mean, Julius Randle's looking at the most improved player award. You still got Emmanuel Quickly. He's playing way better than people expected. They have a solid group of guys over there still. Reggie Bullock, Julius.
Oh, they got a guy named Derrick Rose still there. He's playing pretty well. Yeah,
Derrick Rose is fitting that system perfectly. That team they're looking pretty scary. Like in that East, I wouldn't expect the Knicks to be playing as well as they are, especially after last season.
I did.
Julius Randle just stepped it up a whole nother level.
I did, Sam. I knew when Tom Thibodeau was named the head coach of the New York Knicks, I knew that's when things were going to change as far as Knicks basketball was concerned, and doggone it if it didn't work.
Right. Well, Mr. Ed. Give me those teams. Give me those.
Okay.
Two
Okay.
Two at a time.
Okay. Two at a time. Okay. Sunday, Houston. They should win that one. Sunday, Houston. Monday, Memphis.
2 winnable games. Those are 2 winnable games. Play as a team. They can beat those 2 teams. Both young and really not experienced. Next.
And then here's where it gets tough. I'm giving you all 4 because these are all 4 playoff.
Yeah, I think it got really tough at the end when I heard it. First 2, it did. I was like, you could have left those 2 out.
Denver, Phoenix, the Clippers, and the Lakers. Oh,
goodness gracious!
Yeah,
my gosh,
they hit them hard at the end of the season.
Yes.
Okay. I noticed you probably don't have this right off the top. Whichever one of those teams they're playing after opposing team, if one of them having a back-to-back, if one of those opposing teams having a back-to-back, I give them a chance to win. I don't see them. I don't see them beating Utah. I think Phoenix is a winnable game.
Denver.
Because I don't know. It's just something about Phoenix. Like, they're really good, but sometimes I feel like they have a tendency to let teams sort of like that, like a team come in and beat them. You know, they up.
Like they did with San Antonio last week when they came in here and beat the Suns.
If a team plays this as team ball, such as the Spurs and how the Knicks is playing, Phoenix can tend to slip, but when they play against star-studded teams, they keep up really well. Clippers, it depends. It depends if the Clippers are coming off of a back-to-back or not for me. If they're not coming off a back-to-back, I don't see the Clippers falling to them this late in the season. I don't. Definitely not off of that'd be the 3rd game of this West Coast trip. I don't know, And the Lakers, if Bron back, you can wrap it up.
So the Clippers, before the Knicks come in, 3 days before that, they play the Lakers. So they've got 3 days off, but maybe they're coming off a high, maybe beating the Lakers, and they just kind of like take the Knicks for granted, even though it is a Sunday afternoon game in LA.
Is Kawhi back yet? Do we know? Because he was out last
game.
He
didn't play last night against the Suns.
So that's also a fact. I mean, that's anyone's game. That's their main defender.
But of course, that's a week away, so things could change with Kawhi's health.
Sam, I'm not buying that one.
No, I'm saying against the Lakers, and then the back-to-back, then going to the Knicks. That's what I'm saying.
But they'll have a couple of days off. They'll have a few days off in between, Sam.
Yeah, okay. Kawhi don't have to play against the
I thought that was a back-to-back.
Yeah. I'll be honest. The Clippers could beat the Knicks without Kawhi. Because I've seen them play without Kawhi, and they still look really good. They just have a tendency to just lose some games. Like you can tell the games they lose are just some of those games they probably already have marked as lost. Just situational. But I feel 100% that they could beat the Knicks, without Kawhi Leonard. But I don't think they have a chance with the Lakers. If LeBron is back. But then again, I'm not even gonna say that because right now, if you look at the Lakers, they've been struggling.
Yeah,
it's pretty much what to me. It's pretty much what I said last show when me and Mr. Ed talked about it. Those guys was comfortable without those stars. Those guys was in rhythm. They had some great sleeping nights because they got to get their numbers up. But now when those stars come back and the ball have to go through those stars, and it's like, now I got to take a step back again. I have to readjust. And that takes games. Like, it's not easy to just readjust.
No.
No, it's not.
That's why you see them falling right now. I think they've lost their last 4.
Like four out of 5 or 4 out of 6. Yes.
Yeah, it's because, man, those extra guys now they was just getting in the groove. They were just getting their confidence, and they'll one star come back. Then you gonna have another star coming back. So hopefully they can just get in their groove. But so I'm gonna say it is a possibility that the Knicks can pull that game off just because of the situation and circumstances.
To be fair, though, those 4 games they lost was back-to-backs. They played the Jazz and the Jazz again, then the Mavericks and the Mavericks again.
Right.
And then they lost to that Wizards team that's been on a roll. So they played the Mavericks back-to-back. That's never easy. And that Jazz, I mean, they're that number 1 seed. That's never easy back-to-back as well.
But you can't lose both those games. You can't. If you're gonna play a team twice,
you got to split.
Lose both. You got
at least split.
You have to.
They always seem to struggle against the Mavericks. Always. Luka just seems to put up too much of a problem for him.
Right.
Yeah, even though Tim Hardaway Jr. he shot goodness awful that night, at least on that Saturday night game. But still, the Lakers should have taken advantage of that, but they didn't.
Mm-hmm. Yep, because they're trying. It's like now the offense is trying to figure out how to get AD back going instead of winning the game.
Although he was a -30, he had 26 last night. He shot 10 of 20 against the Wizards, but he was a -13.
Yeah.
So it's just part of his progress back, right? Trail and Sam.
20 shots.
20 shots to get 26 points.
Yeah.
What I do think though, once LeBron comes back, I feel like the addition of Ben McLemore is going to be huge. I think they're going to fit well because LeBron can run that point system well. They're going to put out small forwards. You run the point. You put Schroeder at the 2. You can easily put Ben McLemore at the 3. He dropped 20 against the Mavericks the other night. They're going to have a solid team. They just have to fix that chemistry. That's going to be it. Like you said, Trail. Figuring out how to get Dennis Schroeder to take a step back from being the number 1 guy. Kuzma taking a step back again. But the thing is, I was wondering, they might make Schroeder that 3rd option now, seeing how he was playing. They might take Kuzma away from that and make it a Schroeder. Yeah,
because Schroeder's been playing really well. He's been balling.
Because I'm looking at what you just said about Ben McLemore, that addition, which he is. Honestly, he is a more reliable catch and shoot shooter than Kyle Kuzma. He is.
Yep.
But how do you think that's going to play out with the chemistry of that? You know what I mean? Like, because if they do go with that move to put Ben McLemore in that starting position, that's going to hurt because Ben McLemore came when the stars was out. So now all of a sudden, when the stars come back, you move Ben McLemore to that starting position. Man, that's chemistry issues. And those guys they're grown men, they're professionals, but they still have a mind and emotions as well. So it's a possibility it could be trouble in paradise. It is a possibility.
It is, but
catch up with chemistry quick.
Yeah, but I think Frank Vogel will do a good job of getting everybody together. As you talked about, Trail, they're all grown men, but of course, no starter wants to give up his job to a guy coming off the bench. So KCP is not going to want to give up his job, or Dennis Schroeder's not going to want to come off just to put Ben McLemore back in there.
It'll probably make them play harder. That's what you hope for. You hope to make them play harder and try to contribute a lot more in any spots that they can. But it's gonna be a process to watch.
And then at this stage of the season, you have to be unselfish. It's all about getting that ring. They knew what they had to sacrifice last year. The Lakers did in Orlando. So why can't they make more sacrifices now? If they want to repeat as world champions, they have to do whatever is needed to get that jewelry again.
Yeah. And I feel like LeBron's going to be willing. He already said he wanted to pass it off to AD. He's going to be willing to let those guys get their touches more. He's not going to be trying to take over unless he has to. I can see it, but I can see him dishing out the ball more, scoring 13, 15 a game, not scoring like the 25 he was doing before.
Because he doesn't have to anymore. You're right. He's got pieces.
I just look at LeBron's game. He have to bring it down the floor every time. And that could be a rhythm disruptor right there. Being a shooter, and just, me, I consider myself shooter if I need to be, but I can pretty much do everything in my opinion. But when you're playing with a guy that have to bring it down the floor every time just to keep his rhythm, even though I know Bron's not really like that, but Bron is a guy that have to bring the ball down the floor every time. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough because everybody have to turn into just a spot-up shooter. And a lot of basketball players don't like doing that when they feel like they have more in their bag.
I understand that. I get it.
That makes total sense.
Right.
So let's go and wrap it up with another young man who played really well in that Wizards game last night, Russell Westbrook. We talked about that. The man has 13 triple doubles in April. In 1 month, he is like, I think he's 5 triple doubles away from breaking Oscar Robertson's all-time assist record. I mean, last night, how many points? He had 18, let me see. I'm scrolling. 18 points, 18 rebounds, and 14 assists, and he was plus 12. I'm leaving the floor for you guys to talk about Russell because I left everything out there. The man is unbelievable. I've always loved him, and he's, as we talked about in the pre-production meeting, he's finally getting himself together with Bradley Beal, and that chemistry is finally coming together. And you're seeing it on the basketball court that the Wizards have quickly ran up to number 10, could possibly go to number 9, depending if Brooklyn beats Indiana tonight. They may possibly get a little bit closer to that 9 spot. But just talk about Russell Westbrook and the rise of the Washington Wizards.
So what I got to say real quick, I'm not going to take back my comments on his triple-doubles not being effective for them yet until I can see what they're going to do in the playoff push. Yes, I'm glad they're picking it up now. Him and Bradley Beal, I knew it was going to take time to connect. They're both ball-dominant players, but they're seeming to figure it out with that team. Alex Len looked nice that game. Roy Hachimura is playing pretty well. He had 12 points that game, I believe.
He played good last night too.
Yep.
Ish
they're
Smith.
going to be a solid team playing together and to get in that play-in. If they're playing like they were last night in the past couple games, it's a wrap.
Right.
I don't see any team in the play-in that can beat them.
For me, I've always been a big critic of Russell Westbrook game. Like I said, it was just he was getting all the stats. Like he was getting the triple. At first, the triple double was like amazing. It's like, man, because as a player, I understand how hard it is to get a triple double. It is hard, but he found the recipe to get this triple doubles. He found it's a recipe. When you start doing it this easy, he has a recipe to it, you know. So it's like, okay, now it seems like he's stat padding. And definitely when he was losing, I was like, it gotta be stat padding, because if you can get a triple double, anytime any other player had ever got a triple double, it always turned into a win. So to see him getting all those triple double and they losing, I'm like, okay, I can't give him credit for it. He just found a recipe. But now that they're winning, now it seems that these triple doubles are a lot more valuable. And I have to tip my hat to him now, because now it seems like he's valuing possessions instead of the stats. And it's just ending in a situation where he's getting triple doubles. Now he's just getting them instead of seeking them. You know what I mean? So Russell Westbrook has been phenomenal. Right along with Bradley Beal, he's still Bradley Beal. But they could be a sleeper. They could be a sleeper just because of those two guys right there. And I said that when they came together. I said, Russ can take you to the playoffs. You won't do much when you get there by itself. You know, it won't do much.
But he'll get you there.
He'll get you there. But we have seen Bradley Beal in the playoffs as well. And he's done pretty good. It's just that team wasn't good enough. You know, because I always say, this be real quick, but I always said, when Russell Westbrook came over and replaced John Wall, they were similar players. So I'm like, if John Wall and Bradley Beal can make it to the playoffs, I don't see no reason that Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal can't make it to the playoffs, because pretty much the same duo. It's just Russell going to give you maybe more assists.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. And the points and the rebounds will be a wash, because that's basically what both of them do.
Right.
From a number standpoint.
Exactly. If you just look at it like that. Yes, sir.
But it's incredible. 4 out of the last 5 years, Russell has averaged a triple-double. 3 straight years.
Wow.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, it is very unbelievable, because it is amazingly hard to get a triple-double. Even if you can go to the YMCA, it is hard to get a triple-double.
Yeah, never mind the NBA, especially as a point guard.
Yeah, let alone the most the best basketball league in all of the world, the NBA, to do it.
The NBA give you a slight edge, though. I gotta tell you guys, it gives a slight edge because these are professional scorers as well now.
Yep.
So
yes.
I can come down the floor a couple times myself and just kick it off to the wing, and this is a professional shooter here, and most of the is going to hit because I sit there. I say this right here. Most NBA games are getting to 100 points. Come on now.
Yes.
I had to pass 5 times. I know I can get 5 assists if I just pass to the right guy.
Right.
So I give it just a slight bit edge, but it's still amazing what he's doing. I'm not
unbelievable
taking away from what he's doing.
He played 40 minutes and 40 seconds last night. By far the most minutes of any Wizards player outside of Bradley Beal. He's just what he's done. I think he's been in the league for, has it been 12 years?
Something like that, yeah.
I think so. Has it been that long? Let me click on Russell. He's been in the league for a while. Came out of UCLA. 12 years.
12 years,
He came out in 2009. And he's still putting up numbers, boys. That's unbelievable. Wow.
No, he's been playing since 2008, it says.
Yeah, draft 2008. Yep. He was the fourth pick in the first round.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
13 years in the league.
That's amazing. And still to be able to playing at the level that he's playing, triple doubles like that, man. The dude he's winning. So I have to give this man all the credit.
Yep.
When he's not winning and getting those triple doubles, man, I am the biggest critic. I'm the biggest critic. But
and I can see where Sam, you and Trail come from as far as the triple doubles. If it does not equate to wins and it does not equate to the Wizards being the number 10 seed or even in contention for playoffs, and he's getting triple doubles every night, it's like, then what is it all for?
What is it all?
Right. It is stat padding.
Right.
Stat padding. Exactly. I said that right. Yeah, I just said it right.
Yes, you did.
Oh man, fellas, we got to get on out of here. We did our half an hour plus of the NSN NBA show. Everybody on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, we thank you guys for tuning in. Sam, Trail, give everybody your social media handles, how everybody can get you out there in that virtual world.
All right, so you guys can check me out on Instagram at Samuel Rodriguez Media or on Twitter at Samuel_12899.
And me at Instagram, Trael Nabors, just like you see at the bottom of the screen. Twitter _Trail. Facebook should be tagged in this, but Montreal Shavante Nabors, just like that. And make sure y'all follow my business as well, my sports brand at Ice Training and Fitness .com. Go visit the website, and on Facebook, same thing, Ice Training Fitness, and on IG, Ice Training Fitness, like that. Thank you.
That is so awesome. And for me, you can catch me on Twitter at EdCole43, Instagram at EdwardCole301, Facebook at Edward Cole, and of course, right here on the NSN NBA show on the Notoriety Sports Network. Fellas, thank you again. We made this thing happen on a Thursday night. We got to get ready for the NFL draft is coming up. So we got to make room for the fellas to come in and talk NFL draft here on the Notoriety Sports Network. That's why we did this show early, so we can make room for the big boys to come in.
Right. Yes, sir.
It's going to be a great episode.
Yes. It'll be exciting to see what teams pick who and what the future looks like for all these NFL football teams as they add all this new talent to their rosters. Should be exciting.
Yep. I want to say congratulations to the guys that do achieve their dream by getting drafted. And hey, absolutely, man, good luck to them all.
Yes. I know it's been hard work for you fellas to get to where you are in the NFL. So enjoy this night, enjoy Thursday, enjoy Friday and Saturday. Whoever doesn't get picked tonight, you possibly could get picked on Friday and Saturday. And if you don't, still keep driving and grinding for your dreams, because it will come true. If you stay true to yourself and you keep fighting, it'll happen for you. Wow. Sam, Trail, and myself, we're all living proof of that. And there's millions of other people out there that have their own drive and their own destiny and their own love and their own passion for what they want to do. So if you don't get drafted tonight, Friday or Saturday, don't worry about it. Your time will come. Yeah, but God bless you guys. Yeah, congratulations to everybody who gets picked the next 3 days. And man, it's gonna be crazy to see how these teams come together. It's gonna be pretty cool.
Right.
See this new NFL talent come in.
Right. Yep.
Oh man, but this has been the NSN NBA show. Again, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Friends, thank you for tuning in. And until next week, that's Sam, that's Trail, I'm Ed. Peace.